So in accordance with the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Executive Order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, we are conducting this meeting in a hybrid model, both virtually and in person. The Cemetery Committee is conducting this meeting on January 3rd, 2024 at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Zoom platform and in person, and in accordance with the town's policy directive and guidelines issued on April 1st, 2020, and amended on May 7th, 2022. If you are recognized, please state your name and address. This meeting is being recorded. I, Rod Rydell, hereby call this meeting to order. All committee votes will be taken via roll call. We'll start with an attendance roll call of committee members. When I announce your name, please reply. Brian Davidson.
Here.
Jerry Susi.
Here.
Paul Sturgis.
Here.
Rod Rydell here, and we are missing Jeff Walton. Next item on the agenda is deed signing. And did I hear you correctly? We have two deeds to sign from sales from December. Is that right? Okay. We'll do that after the meeting. Next item on the agenda, 8.4, is the next proposed cemetery committee meeting, and that is proposed for February 7th. Is that acceptable and feasible for everyone? Okay, terrific. Then we'll get to the items for discussion and possible action. Item D1, the CPW staff report, operations and maintenance.
Good evening, everyone. Eric Bosco, Highway and Ground Superintendent. So in the month of December, focus on routine maintenance, customer service as needed. There was a pretty significant storm December 18th. High winds, rain event, the trees came down throughout town, actually flooding, and kind of roadways icing. Following that storm event, so really kind of some of it did affect the cemetery. There were some trees down. There was headstones that were damaged, and so what we've been doing with that storm, as well as the storm in September, we saw damage a number of headstones. Tish that we're able to capture that damage with photographs. Immediately following the storm, we were able to get some pricing for repairs, some estimates, and we contracted some the tree removal and debris management cleanup on the site. We were able to get a dollar value for that. We actually worked with our town's risk manager and submitted an insurance claim to Maya, insurance provider, and they reviewed and approved the claim. And we were able to get all but the $1,000 deductible paid for through insurance. So we received a check for $14,000 and change for the repair of those headstones. Using it and all the repairs that come in spring. So with town and county documents to open up the purchase orders, headstones that were damaged, repaired immediately.
Aaron, are these the historic headstones, or are these just any headstone?
There's a variety. Some of them are some older headstones, some newer headstones. So just resulting of that storm. In the past, this is kind of a newer process that we're taking. But then I work closely. But I'm a representative public works of the town's insurance risk management group. If you will, in this group now there's a new insurance risk manager for the town, and we've had some other insurance claims kind of related to some other things in the department. So we get this as an option, kind of pursued it. We're able to find out that it was approved, falls under the town's outdoor property liability policy that they have. So something that otherwise in the past might have been deferred, we just include with our and headstone restoration projects instead of having to spend cemetery fund.
Great.
This is great. For the tree removal, was that also a part of the insurance claim, or is that taken?
It was including the cost of that one.
Great. Well, that's great. Congratulations. That's good.
And I do have to commend Doug and Tish on their continued maintenance and cleanup their efforts following that storm. Very helpful. So they're back in the open and operation. And monitor us. We do have some events coming up on the horizon. So, other than that, speaking of snow, we're putting out plow stakes. Folks might have noticed, we're putting out some of those green fiberglass plow stakes along the roadways to assist with removal of snow following a snowstorm. And during the month of December, in addition to the lost or sold, we did have 3 full interments and 2 cremations and 8 single grave classes.
So with the debris removal petition, is this just taking everything up to a compost site, basically? Yeah. Great. Are there any questions for Aaron, Tish, or Doug about the update? Okay, thank you. And let's move to item D2. And just a quick comment. This is a discussion of lot availability, and this is in that category of the items that we agreed upon last meeting that we would review on an annual basis. So this was the one that we had identified come up in the January timeframe. So that's why this is on. There's no emergency. This is a routine review, routine presentation. Turn it back to you, Aaron. Okay.
Around a lot. So as of right now, total left for a lot availability, we're looking at 26%.
Sorry, Aaron. Jerry, can you hear Aaron? Okay. Oh, great. Thank you.
So we're looking at 26% remaining. So of the and what that equates to as far as the numbers, about 575 lots that are total remaining in the Knoll section. I know that in previous conversations we talked about some mapping, and we were able to put together kind of a visual map for reference. I know there's conversation amongst the committee about do we need to pursue acquiring land or land swap or something like that, but I want that. Are we able to put that up?
Yep, I just, Jeff says he's in Zoom, it's not on mine, so I'm forwarding him the invitation again, to make sure he's on the right one. And then I can pull that up.
So we have a map we put together, that will show kind of the area, the actual property, cemetery property, the area we can expand. Some of the property between the Knoll and the older section, it's covered with wetlands, where there's some area. Lots of open space, and then there's areas that are already cleared, and then there's some heavily forested areas which could be cleared, and then lots of soil. And I know this has been something we talked about. I think some of the prioritizing the need. Hopefully, we've identified part of this new master plan review that we need to explore. Marking out some additional lots, so we have some other lots available. For folks to choose. Here we go. So what this is a screenshot of the town's GIS, and what it shows is Bedford Street here at 62, and the property that's highlighted in yellow is the cemetery owned land. You can see this area right here. This is the older section, Sleepy Hollow. This is the Knoll. You can see here, but this is the runway coming in. This green overlay, I'm going to highlight here, wetlands. This heavily wooded area to the north, right here, that's all cemetery land. It's not wetlands. The streets can be cleared. There's documented conversations with the previous committees about clearing that, putting graves there. So that'd be a future plan. This section outside of the circle down here has not been laid out yet, so it's still all open space. It's not so graves marked out, lots or cremation lots marked out for this area. Right here along Bedford, we have the 3 mausoleum lots that are marked out. Everything else in this area, it's already cleared and has some trees planted. It's open and available. Part of that is the area that was identified for potential call bearing to be installed. Other than that, this point of this space is already cleared. we would look at first. Phase one now, looking at expanding in the future. We continue to expand north.
So the 575 lots that are still available now do not include the space, that cleared land in the Knowles section.
Correct.
Okay, so the cleared land would give you a couple of hundred or whatever the number is.
Yeah, I'd say more than that. Just you have a rough. How many? So in the area that is already
Cleared, but not included in the.
yeah, in the area that was
Sorry.
It would be the thousands, I mean, in that area to the left, if you could open it all up.
so the area that was already this area right here originally already had total lots of 2,118 lots.
Oh,
We'd be expanding. If you look at just from a footprint standpoint, what's in here, there's a number of paths in here. There's the hardscape with the flags, memorial in the middle. So this is quite a large space.
So where is this 575?
They're scattered throughout this area,
The part that's already
already laid out.
laid out. And how long would you project that last? Like that number? Like 3 years?
Mm.
No,
Less?
Yeah.
Longer?
So this would be something that the process for this would be, we'd go out, make a application for bid for to have a engineer come in, and a surveying capabilities come in, lay out a survey for this area, mark it out, put in boundaries for us. We have an engineering department who we would work with to then put out, more detailed bounds, once we have the mapping. And then once those are available, come before the cemetery committee sets the rate for those lots. They're available. It's not like construction per se, more design layout. So it's something that we would be able to do within that time frame. We just would need to prioritize that as a project and make funding for it.
but this could fit within the annual budget.
Most likely it would be it'd be part of that, but I'd probably ask for some additional funding.
Okay, it's not something we do a CPC or.
No.
Okay. Okay.
And part of that from our subcommittee too on columbarium would be very helpful because again, this is the area that columbarium is going to be in, but kind of design it, not knowing how everything's going to be laid out.
Yeah, that makes
It'd be
it
helpful to have it.
Makes it tough today to design that without knowing what future expansion would look like.
Where walkways would go. And
Sure.
where-
So from on an operations standpoint, it's something.
So, Aaron, this is Jeff. I'm sorry I joined late. I clicked onto the wrong meeting agenda. I guess my main question is, and I probably missed it when you were talking before, but on our current space, have we completed that assessment of how many graves do we have left, plots do we have left? And then you're saying that this other section, we would need to get engineering to lay out and see how many plots you can get in there, but do you have a guess on how many plots you can get in there?
So currently we have 575 lots available today. And then looking at kind of like the acreage compared to what's existing, it'd be a couple of thousand lots potentially. It's a rough number, high number.
And we haven't completed an analysis of how long that'll last.
Correct.
So I'm not sure if Jerry's on. He was going to start doing some looking at that, but at the utilization and whatnot. But I think we kind of need to have a projection for our use over 60 years. And I'm sorry again if I missed the discussion on how we're going to project that, but I think that's an important discussion for us to have.
So I would start with, we do have historical data. We know how many lots we sell every month and every year annually going back many years. So we can go look historically and probably make projections. We can definitely make projections based off of our historical sales. To see, you know, based on square footage or square acreage of that area, how many lots we could fit, how quickly would those go. And then prior to that, I did mention that, can you see the map that's posted?
Yeah.
So the area to the north of the circle, it's a wooded area. That's all cemetery land. There are previous committee discussions and plans to expand and clear that area and potentially lay out additional lots. So that's all usable land to the north.
Yep.
The cemetery committee, you know, already possesses, if you will, is earmarked for lot installation. So it's quite a bit of land.
It's quite a bit of land, but we don't have a projection of how many plots we're gonna need for 60 years, so it's kind of hard for us to figure out if that's enough land.
Yes, correct. We haven't done that analysis. We can look into that. I would say that, so the knoll was opened up in 1988. 1998. Yep. And so since then, it's 27 years, 26 years ago. We've sold about, the rough numbers, 1,500 lots.
Out of an original plot allotment of how many?
So in 1998, the original lots, there was 2,118 lots available. We have 575 remaining.
Okay.
Are there any issues with the water table in that area near the mausoleum? That would bring some, there's no.
So when we dug, as far as we did test pits before we dug the bottom.
Oh,
Yeah, we dug test pits to determine, engineering did that done to determine how to design that foundation for that.
What about the wooded area? You know, I know when they did the knoll, there was some cultural sensitivity. Did they ever look into, I wouldn't imagine they would, but they looked that far into the woods and stuff like that.
Yeah, as of right now, I don't know if I can't answer that question. I don't know the answer to that. But I would say there's no restrictions on us being able to go there. Never prevents us from going there tomorrow, cutting all the streets down.
Mhm.
No bylaw.
I just know this is some cultural stuff. You know, I think there's a part of the knoll area.
Yeah, there is a marker out there.
There's two identified areas that, Shirley Blanky was kind of given free rein for 1 year. She had 12 months and she chose where she wanted to dig. I don't remember how many pits she dug. I think it was something like 17, or 17 areas that she looked at. There might be a map. I think it's in the library. I really don't know. But she identified only two. And they're both marked out, and in GIS, so that graves won't be put there in small areas, and then approximately 15 by 15, something like that.
In addition to the lots that are available at the knoll, I'm guessing you've talked about in past years, Tish, that some folks are on a waiting list in case some family wants to sell back a lot from the original or the older section of Sleepy Hollow. That comes up, what, a handful every year?
Yeah.
Yeah, single digits?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Okay, but that waiting list is what, 60, 70, 80? Yeah. Okay, great. Jerry and Jeff, Happy New Year, welcome. Jerry and Jeff, any other questions regarding a lot availability?
Yeah, I think it's, oh, sorry, Jerry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I have no questions right now. Thanks.
Thank you.
I think it's really important for us to, you know, as we talked about last time, project out with the 60-year demand will be based on our current knowledge, our current utilization, maybe a little bit deeper on how many of them are cremations, how many of the requests are full body burials. And so we're able to make a projection for 60 years, because I think that's our mandate. We need to be able to state that we're going to have the availability for 60 years. So first of all, we have to know what that projected amount is going to be. Second of all, we've already done some of the lot availability, but then we work into, okay, after those lots, assume they all get developed, what is our gap still? And and then finally, what options are we going to start looking at for to fill that gap? And I guess I just wasn't hearing a clear process by which, first of all, do you agree with that? And second of all, what's the clear process that we step through that?
Well, I think that's an action item. That's a topic that comes up from the review, and that's a great thing for a follow-up discussion. But just on the back of an envelope, based on Aaron and Tish, what you said about how many lots were sold in the last 24, 25 years, and I'm rounding up. So roughly 1,500 lots were sold in the last 25 years. Lots now. Those include full burials and cremation burials. So that's around 60 a year. Okay, that's around 60 a year. And if we project forward the next 60 years, that's 3,600 lots. And that doesn't include a columbarium, which we don't know yet whether it's going to, what the capacity of the columbarium is, but as a structure, I don't know if it's more than 1,000. Frankly, 1,000 that's a pretty big structure for a columbarium. But we're talking about something like 3,600 lots, and we've talked about the existing land having about 2,100 lots. So it's pretty clear that to me, this is the first reaction, that back of the envelope, for the short term, we're in good shape. For the medium term, which I'd say is the next 3 to 10 years, where by mapping out the existing property that is already cleared, we're probably well there, but we can start planning on an additional 1,000 or 2,000 lot capacity in the wooded area. And that maybe that's what we can look at, Jeff, as we go forward. And this is more just a set of frameworks. So how about if we just take on that as an action item for the committee, and we'll put it on an agenda, and I'll call you and figure out like how we'll go about it, who will present it, and what background information we need. How's that sound?
Yeah, I think that's great. I think we'll get through it in part of the master plan as well.
Okay. Yeah, we may be able to address it in the master plan with setting the goals for. We want to have the cleared land plotted by a certain number of years from now. Then we want to have some kind of a plan for the trees within the next number of years, whatever it is.
Yeah. And just to add to that, looking at the appendix D of the master plan, there's some old data that was in the spreadsheet that's in there that talks about square feet available, historic information at that time. It says that there's approximately 132,352 square feet of open development area, open area for development. At that time, it says it's averaging, it's provided about an additional 44 years of open space based on the current average of sales since then. Yeah, 61 was our average. It looks at and using that same amount of square footage, it's just over 39 years. It's currently clear.
Yeah.
2/3 of the way there.
Okay.
I think it's important.
Okay. So we'll Jeff, I'll work with you offline and we'll, we'll propose an agenda item in one of our upcoming meetings. How's that sound?
Sounds good. I don't know if we're not deciding anything, so we're just talking about agenda item. That shouldn't be an open meeting laws problem.
Right. I think we'll be fine. I think we'll be fine.
Okay.
Okay. Is there any other questions or comments regarding lot availability? Well, just a comment. I think we've just demonstrated the usefulness of having, these sort of standard topics. Just, fresh eyes, look at it. Everybody takes a look. Everybody has a better understanding, and we've got some action. So that's great. That's great. Following the CPW's, the Public Works Commission, model. Okay, item D3. We have a cemetery committee annual report, which will be for 2023, which will be incorporated into the town's annual report. And many thanks to Justine, who had let me know that this was going to be due before the town sent out the notices, and I went into a panic. And many thanks to Brian, who wrote the last 2 years, not only for the year he was chair, but for the year that Leo was chair, wrote the annual report. So we prepared a draft annual report, which we circulated, and I just wanted to give the committee members an opportunity, if a pressing issue or correction or revision, which should be incorporated.
So I did not circulate your draft to the committee members, because that was not my understanding, so I apologize.
Okay.
Because typically, I think in the past, it has been more staff and the chair.
Oh, okay.
But we have not had a chance, we have not been able to review it yet.
So it's due the 19th.
Yes,
So that's.
yes, so
that's it.
within
So
the next,
I
yeah.
would appreciate comments before like the 18th.
Oh, no, yes.
So typically, I mean, if you're the chair, so you can kind of decide how you would like the report from the committee to go. Typically, in the past few years, it's been the chair or person that's putting together the report will send the report to staff, will review their final draft, provide some comments, send it back to the chair finalizes and sends it along to the person that's collecting all the reports, copies us on to the final stuff.
Okay, so the chair sends it, or do you want to?
No, the chair does, the chair sends it, yeah.
The department sends, we send our own report. So
Okay.
in my division manager report, I have a number of programs, cemetery is one of them, and I send a report from the cemetery based on operations. Talk about some of the things we've done. In addition to that, the chair of the committee or the committee involvement.
Sure. Well, the reason I put it on the agenda is because, to my embarrassment, the last 2 years, I didn't even know that we prepared this report. I mean, as a committee member, I just didn't even know that it was there, and it's embarrassing. Maybe you knew when you were on the committee.
Only for me on this committee.
Okay. I think it would be, I'm happy with, and if the committee members want to, defer to, me making revisions, working with Aaron, Justine, and Tish, and Doug, that's fine. That's fine.
I used to prepare this report for another board, and I used to always do it, and nobody did it.
Yeah,
was
me too.
It was proofread, but it wasn't seen by the other members of the board.
Okay.
It's
Even like when it's staff, I try not to change your report because it's your report. I might provide a comment on if there's something egregious that I would.
Well, it's a
flag
factual
in the
error,
rules,
yeah.
right? But I'm not gonna like rewrite because it's your words, and we typically will just, we want to edit, Brian. We'll
Whoever wrote it before me, we'll keep passing the buck down.
just so you know, it's
Just
not
a
that we don't
review
want to
of
be involved.
the-
It's like, it's like I would, I don't put it the way that I would write it. 'Cause it's
Sure.
So.
Yeah.
We write our own report, but we're happy to review it if you'd like us to and provide you a comment back, but we're not gonna change too much unless it's like,
And
we really shouldn't say this in the document.
Well, the thing is that they're there, and it's a written history. And so if
Yes.
there are errors,
Definitely.
it's something that shouldn't, those things can come back to
Yeah.
haunt, a town or a committee.
Yeah.
So, let me revise the plan of action then. I'll continue to work, with Aaron and Tish and Doug and Justine, and we'll get this finalized. Once we submit it, we'll put it in the agenda as an attachment for the next meeting,
they can
and then
see it.
everybody gets a copy. And this way, everybody knows what's being said. Okay?
Sounds great.
Okay. Any other discussion on the annual report? Okay. Okay, now, another major discussion is the master plan, section 2 of the master plan. And the designated reviewers, or the people who volunteered for section 2, were Brian, Jeff, and Jerry. It's the same trio that took on section 1 at our last meeting. So I open it up for discussion and invite comments from any of you. Who wants to start?
I feel bad I started last time, but I mean, I'm happy to kind of give my thoughts. And Jeff, Jerry, please weigh in. So let's see. So I guess looking at the overview for the start, I didn't have any necessarily comments on the overview of the language. It's pretty consistent, well written. 2.1 funding sources. I think some of my notes on this was that there's a ratio, the general fund 35% and the cemetery revolving fund 65%. I think I would take out those percentages. It seems as though those can sometimes, depending on budget requirements, change. It's not necessarily a constant, ratio. So I think I would just to update that current status. So, but I think this pretty well discusses how the cemetery operations are funded, the general fund, and then the cemetery revolving fund, which is, there's three legs to that cemetery revolving fund. So the percentages change, so we should take that out to be consistent, but it seems like this is pretty much how the cemetery is funded. In the goal section, I guess I did have kind of a little question. I don't know exactly what number sentence it is, but it says dedicated fundraising efforts should be included in the future to ensure adequate funding of capital projects. I guess I wasn't necessarily sure how our committee would necessarily operate in that capacity. So I didn't know, maybe we could discuss that if that was still language we wanted to necessarily include in that. I thought
that's Community Preservation Act. It's one example of alternative funding.
I think so. I to put that under the available grant money should be pursued. I guess I looked at the community funding as grant, whereas I think of as fundraising as some overt action by the committee to work to fundraise, and I wasn't sure if that was necessarily. Okay. Again, that's just knee-jerk reaction to it, but overall, it seems to be the goal.
Well, let's hold on right there and ask Jeff and Jerry, did you have anything to add for this section 2.1?
Yeah, we talked about doing a or having a review. I think it's scheduled for next month on the schedule for what monies are available in those funds currently in the general cemetery funds. And I think we need to somehow say that the committee, while not responsible for, is conscious of and reviews the revolving cemetery fund in order to ensure that we're able to set prices right so that we are actually able to continue to finance that portion of the cemetery operations. So I don't know if we want to tie it explicitly, but I think we're scheduled next month to have that overview. And I would just say that something along the lines of, we've reviewed that, and our comments on funding and increases and such are dependent on, our overall resources. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does, Jeff, but I'm looking at the schedule. Right now, the budget and the finance review is scheduled for April. And I think we're probably going to need to keep it there. Would it be all right?
Yes, no problem. Yeah. Just when it's scheduled, my point was, we're going to take on the opportunity to understand that on an annual basis and to help inform our responsibilities in this section.
So you might want to propose some language to add to this particular section of the master plan.
I will.
Okay. Jerry, I'm sorry. Did you have comments on 2.1?
2.1, I have no comments on. I just wanted to, though, make a note that, for the overview. I'd like to suggest an alternative to the word tourism. Something like cemetery use and appreciation or something like that. It just that word kind of struck me.
Okay. Thank you.
Just on the timing for the April. So just looking at our charge, number 11 is to review the annual budget and capital improvement program for the cemetery as submitted by the director and submitted to the town manager with our recommendations. So, I mean, I think in charge, we're supposed to be reviewing the directors, and if we disagree, we can make comments, to the town manager. If we do it in April, is that lining up to when the director is doing it? And is there a time that would work better where the director is submitting their budget request for the next year, which we could then review?
So I would say that in my time with the committee has not reviewed the budget and provided comment. And I don't know if Tish is.
No, very.
Okay. So 36 years, the committee is not real. Typically, the charter probably needs a little bit of revamp in some ways. But as far as the budget goes, we prepare the budget after we get the budget directive. And I'm also the town manager, and that could be somewhere between August and October in our year. So that's when we prepare the annual budgets for submission. It's due typically August to September, October timeframe. And there's a pretty tight window to review kind of what we're proposing before I make the final submission to the department. It's then compared to the finance department. Once it's in, it's in, and then it's up to them to determine if they're going to make any adjustments, or cuts, or how it's going to be funded, etc. And from there, it goes to the town manager. So by April, it's already town meeting full time. It's on the warrant. In the budget book.
So if we wanted to just have a presentation on what the budget proposal is, it should be in September.
Yes.
Right, because it'll be the first week of September. It may be a work in progress at the time, may not be finalized, but that's the right time. Because anytime after that, it's basically,
It's already gone.
yeah, it's gone. So
The idea was that I think that in April that we were reviewing capital needs, requests, things that the committee might want to prioritize projects the following year, so that we can have a discussion, finalize it at the main meeting before there's a recess for the summertime, so that I have a idea of what we're going to be preparing budget and planning for the summer.
So I'll revise that on the list of topics. So I think it's still worthwhile talking in April about finance, and where the money's come from, and making sure that the committee understands like what pot comes out of the town reserve, what comes from the cemetery fund, and how that works. Because, for example, at April, I'm just curious as to who made the decision to take out the $343,000 from the cemetery fund to match the CPC grant. you know, which sounds like a perfectly reasonable thing to do. I just had no idea like how it happens. You know, it was a great thing to do. We're gonna repair all the stone walls, but sort of like to know, and you don't want to repair the stone walls and then find out we've jeopardized, you know, by reducing the principal on that account, we've jeopardized, you know, ongoing operation support for the next few years. Don't want to do that either. So stuff like that. Okay, so Jeff, I still think we should do the finance, what you know, the topics that you were talking about in April, and then
Yep.
we'll do the budget, you know, the annual fiscal year budget in September, which would be for the next town meeting. Yeah. Okay.
I think that will be helpful in 2.1.1 as well, because if we know what we're looking to come up for our portion of the budget from the cemetery fund, to help us project, now that we know what the balances are, what the real need for an increase might be, in addition to what the market rates are.
Yep. Okay. Jerry, did you have any comments on 211?
Yeah, I did a little bit of research, and I got to tell you, the prices are all over the map. As far as, you know, looking at quote unquote the competition, you know, in this area, the cheapest burial is about $1,600 in Wayland, and that's for a non-resident. That's like the maximum, and that includes the perpetual use fee, or not perpetual use, perpetual care. And, you know, that's about half of our rate. Mount Auburn prices for burial lots start at $25,000. So, you know, in kind of looking at all this stuff, I think we need to consider that, you know, from a business point of view, we've got pricing power that, you know, this cemetery, as well as pretty much any other, can raise its prices and, you know, not lose more than like a tiny sliver of potential customers, because you know, there are just too many unique factors going into the economics of this whole thing. So I would suggest, you know, with the discussion about finances and stuff, that, you know, our prices should reflect what we need, and really shouldn't necessarily consider what, you know, other cemeteries are charging.
So I think we may want to have the goal, bring lot prices and interment fees in line with current market rates and the cemetery needs, you know, for
Yep.
the present and the future. Okay. Thanks. Let's go to 2.2. Brian, do you want to lead off?
Yeah, just on 2.1.1, should we put some kind of time frame? Like, I mean, I don't know if yearly is appropriate, but like every 3 years that we're reviewing these prices.
Well, what's been the past, Tish, for changing or updating the prices? Lot prices?
It used to be looked at every year. It hasn't been looked at in a couple of years, and they haven't changed in a while. Honestly, for this area, we're still probably high.
Okay, you mean compared to other?
Surrounding towns, yeah, comparable towns.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, would there be any problem with recommending that we review it, you know, annually? And we can.
No, it used to be reviewed annually.
Yeah, why don't we
April-
stick it
April,
on?
May is a good time to do that, because if there's gonna be an increase, I think it was Bill Edgerton that changed it. It used to be in January, but changed it so that the increase would be more in line with the fiscal year. So the increases would be effective as of July 1st.
Is it on the calendar?
I think it's on that calendar that we did, so we'll look at it, and then we have a rate hearing in June.
Right here in June.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna do it in June.
Right, so we're gonna raise the data.
Yeah.
At that.
Okay. Okay, so we'll have it, we'll do it every year.
Right, so we'll do that later. Yeah.
I have a whole survey that we use comparable towns, surrounding towns and comparable towns.
Okay,
That I will update.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
we update.
The only thing, I think Jerry makes a very good point. I'm not trying to gouge anybody, any stretch of imagination, but this isn't the Waltham Cemetery. This is Sleepy Hollow. And we do have a unique environment, and we have pricing power with that if we need it. Just, we don't want to gouge anybody, but at the same time, it's not just a lot in the middle of a strip mall parking lot. You know, it's special.
So, thanks, Jeff. 2.2, I think we've completed this task. I think we could remove it, and we've computerized everything. It's on the website. It's super fantastic to be able to go in and pull everybody up and look at it. So it was a lot of work, prior committees and Tish and crew to get it all done. So for me, I had 2.2 be moved. I don't know if my other committee members also agree with removing 2.2.
Tish, is there any cost associated with maintaining the database, updating the database, adding to, or how's
Yeah,
this all work?
there's an annual fee that we pay that you would know better than I do. The only other thing that we do need to do, maybe not this year or next year, is we need to update the maps, because that's not something that happens real time, and we need to have Main Street and Old Hill for the database.
Okay,
So there's a cost associated.
is there,
with
is that done by the contractor?
Yeah, they'd have to get involved, but we actually have the CAD map, I'll call it, I think that's what it's called, that our GIS guy did for the two other burial grounds in the center of town. GIS Pete made two CAD. And we have the list of names. We have all the data that we need. We just have to get it. It would be, I think, be somewhat seamless to add those two.
Okay,
We just have to work with the company, and but we can provide them with everything that they need for those two.
and is
Those
that,
CAD maps had to be created for combo.
is that pricey? Is that something?
No,
Okay,
I
because
don't know how
that's
much
something
it's
that
like.
would be a slam dunk for CPC. Including
Yeah.
preservation, storage.
I think in a whole big scheme of things, what we've spent so far, I don't think it would be that much, because all the work is basically done. It's just getting it into their system. The maps exist, the information exists.
So the goal could be then to complete one of these for the Old Hill burial ground.
Yes.
South of Main Street.
South.
Yeah. Okay. Section 2.3.
You know, we established the website. It looks great because we can go on to the Sleepy Hollow. There's that link to the Sleepy Hollow to the database, and then there's also some news items, although it's kind of getting a little dated now. I think the last one I looked at was 2021. So I don't know, you know, if we want to think about having a rotating assignment to review and refresh the website every year, or for a committee member come up with suggestions, or you know, obviously it's limited news probably happening on a day-to-day basis on the cemetery, but
An annual update, annual review and update would be a good idea. Is there an IT person that manages or takes care of all the website? Or is it goes to the individual departments?
Departments, maintain websites.
Okay, so what we're talking about here is just the, right?
Depends.
Okay.
So we can update the website normally, with some new articles, things that come up. Remove any stale information. So, there is somebody at the town-wide level that is our public information officer for review the website.
Well, we should probably, next year, or early in the 24-25 year, probably should review it in anticipation of the 2025 celebrations and visitors coming, and people going to be going to the website. So we want to make sure that things are accurate. There's no misspelling, and if there's any information that needs to be removed, remove it. Not necessarily to add stuff, but anything that is now outdated and needs to be taken out. Because maintaining a website can be a thankless task that consumes all your time every day, including weekends. Stay away from
One question I didn't know, obviously we have the website, but when you walk into the cemetery, I don't think there's any information about it. A lot of times you go to places, they have the QR codes where people can just take their phone and click it and pull right up to the website where they'd be able to then have a map, have access to, where people are. They basically have access to the website vis-a-vis the phone. I don't know if we could think about somehow adding something to an existing sign, or is that an instruction? Yield the floor then.
Okay. Well, the other alternative is to just put up something for the 250th celebration. Those sort of styrofoam things that stick in, and want more information about Sleepy Hollow. There it is. You print out a bunch. There it is. So that's a possibility too. As opposed to, as an alternative to changing the signs or adding signs. What do they call them? QSR codes?
QR.
I always throw an S. Okay. Jerry and Jeff, do you have any comments, suggestions about section 2.3? Jerry.
Yeah, I just, last summer, I spent a little time with Tish at my request, opening up a grave in preparation for an interment. And it got me thinking, I'd like to do some short videos, short informational videos, a couple minutes a piece, talking about different aspects of the cemetery. I mean, it's a very vague idea, but it's something that I've been doing for a while, instructional videos, and this might be a good opportunity, and I'd be willing to do it.
This is a rare for a committee, any committee in any town, under any circumstance, proposes an action and volunteers to perform it. So I'd like to say, that's great. That's great. Jerry, we're going to take you on your suggestion, and I just defer to you to work with Tish and Aaron and see what you can come up with. Okay.
Awesome. Great. Will do.
Deadlines, completely open-ended. Let you work it into your schedule.
Let your mind go wild.
Okay, is that's section 2? Okay.
I have one comment on the 2.3. As we redo the master plan, it may be an excellent time to re-inform the community on what the cemetery committee is doing, and point to the new master plan. We probably could get in, get a story in the various papers, if there still are various papers at that point. And just, you could tie it into the 250th as well, but just kind of an update for folks that your cemetery committee's working hard with the town to protect your valuable asset.
Okay. Send me the text and we'll put it in and we'll review it and we'll make a decision for a final inclusion. Okay, final decision. Thank you. Okay, so I think Jerry has already sent in writing his comments. Thank you very much. Jeff, you have the homework of sending your comments, and Brian. Also, no need to do anything special, right? If it's in a Word file, that's great. If it's handwritten, you can Xerox it and scan it and just send it, and I'll take on the task of entering everything in. I haven't entered the section 1 amendments because some of them came a little late for this meeting, but I'll try and get section 1 and 2 revisions into the document and get it to you, Justin, so that we can circulate it, not necessarily for review, but just so people can see what the comments have been for section 1 and section 2. And then maybe every time we do 2 sections, I'll add more of those edits and give it to you for the agenda. Okay?
Makes
Are there
sense.
any other discussions, any other questions, comments? The master plan section 2.
Nope.
Okay, then we'll close that agenda item D4 and move on to D5. Chair comments. I have no comments. No additional comments. I've talked enough. Section D6, committee members' comments. Jerry.
I just wanted to share something that came up as I was, doing my research on the pricing and thing, and that's in the year 2020, the death care industry was valued at $20 billion and employs roughly 130,000 people. While most, and I'll just read this quick quote here, while most of these workers will be employed by privately owned companies, some will be public employees. For example, if the cause of death is uncertain, a coroner employed by the city or county may investigate. If a person will be buried at, and here this is in Wisconsin, Forest Hill Cemetery, but if a person will be buried at Sleepy Hollow, the backhoe operator who digs the grave will be a town employee. So it's an industry.
It is.
Okay, any other committee member comments? Then let's move to our final agenda item, D7, public comments. Terry, hello.
Hi, Happy New Year. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Terry, yeah.
I really think it's great that you're going through the master plan and doing some of these analyses. I have been asking for that in many departments in town. And for example, you said something like 65% of the cost is coming from the cemetery fund and 35% from the general fund. Who decided that? Where did they come up with those numbers? That kind of analysis needs to be looked at in all of our departments. So I'm really glad you're doing that. And in terms of pricing the lots, that's another really great thing to look at. Yes, it's special, but also how much does it cost the town to provide the care?
That's a good point.
I don't have any idea. Are we breaking even right now? Are we losing money? You know, all of this analysis should be done, and it's not that complicated to do. So I'm really glad that you're going to be taking a look at that. And my motivation for this is, well, the middle school and the public safety and public works buildings coming up, our taxes are going up very quickly, and we're going to be looking at a general override soon. So we really want to look at things like cemetery fees. Are they the right amount?
Right.
Or not? And I don't know the answers, but I'm really glad that you're going to be looking at it. The other thing I'm really glad you're looking at is the 250th. And the 250th committee is going to have their own website. And it's really exciting. I think it was Jerry that you said you're going to do these videos and you're going to have maps. All of this stuff could be linked in with the 250th website. Not sure who to get in touch with, but I could find out. I think it might be the chair, Gary Clayton, or it might be Diane Proctor. Do you want me to find out who you should link up with and let you know, or do you want to find out?
Terry, why don't you take that as an action item?
It's definitely Diane.
Well, and also, Diane Proctor.
She's the chair of the communications and
Okay, thanks. Great.
And Terry, we did approve a request that had come in, I think it was at last meeting, that was linking the grave sites of historic figures, working with the Minuteman National Park, and photographs of the headstones, the gravestones, which will now be part of the 250th, and will be accessible,
Right.
from the National Park Service. So
That's wonderful. I think there will be a lot of visitors interested. So thank you for doing all of that.
Any other comments, Terry?
Nope.
Okay. Well, if that's the case, we have no more public comments, Andrea? No? No? Okay. Then I will entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I will make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Do I have a second?
I will second.
Let me have a roll call. Brian Davidson,
Aye.
Jerry Susi,
Aye.
F. Walton,
Aye.
Scylla Sturgis,
Aye.
Ron Rydell, aye. Once again, we are unanimous. Okay, thank you very much. Meeting is adjourned.
Happy